My ultimate allegiance lies with the kingdom of God and with the scriptures. And whoever it offends, it has to offend for the gospel's sake, right? I can't say my allegiances are gonna lie only with this side or this group or that group. Ultimately, as believers, our allegiance gotta lie. And Jesus has taught us this. He's taught us that when there's conflict between allegiance to God and allegiance to people, he's taught us in the book of Matthew where that allegiance has to lie. So the middle ground is I wanna make sure that my allegiance is to God and that I have convictions about what God has taught us in his word. But then outside of that is, do I have the humility, the empathy, and the decency to bring people into my space who don't look like me, but be willing to have conversations with people who don't look like me, may not even believe like me? Am I willing to do that as human beings without feeling we don't have to throw arrows to have conversations? And I think those are some of the practical things we can do. And then pray for people who you may not understand their background. Pray to understand and try to be a good listener. You know, I'm a black dude, you're a white dude. We've come from two different environments. But you and I, man, we was in there talking for almost an hour and some change before we even did the pod. And I'm listening to you, you're listening to me. You're lending me your ears and I'm lending you my ears. And I think if we learn to do that more often and treat each other like human beings, I think these are some of the practical things we can do to kind of move the culture forward when it comes to these spaces that are very tense.
I love this concept of getting around pain or getting around a different experience, because when you get close to something,
yes,
you're going to see things you normally wouldn't see.
Yes.
You're going to hear things you wouldn't normally hear.
Yeah.
You're going to feel things you wouldn't normally feel.
Yeah, like the tar pits in Trinidad, right?
Exactly, the tar pits, right?
Right, yeah. Like,
and I just think it requires a bit of getting uncomfortable and being a learner and saying, I don't know everything.
That's it right there, being a learner. I don't know everything. Look how much you taught me in that private
I didn't
conversation,
teach you nothing,
bro.
man.
Come on. Yo, listen, the people need to know Rich was dropping gems on me.
Yeah,
in the back.
right.
Yeah,
No,
right.
no,
but look how much I learned from you in the back just listening. And remember, I told you, like, listen, when I'm in spaces like this, I'm a student. You know, I'm not coming in here trying to be Philip Anthony Mitchell. You know, you've been in ministry longer than me. You've been pastoring longer than me. You know, you had a very successful, fruitful, you know, young adults ministry when it was Rendezvous. Remember when it was Rendezvous?
Hello.
Before it became the VOO, you know, and then your father, you know, was a very well-respected pastor here in Miami. And so you've had experiences I don't have. So when we back there talking, I'm back there as a student. You know, you and I are talking offline. I'm trying to learn. I didn't come in here trying to be Philip Anthony Mitchell. No, I'm trying to learn.